going to present
our analyzation on the TPCASTT based on the poem by Emily Dickinson called
I Felt a Funeral in My Brain. Let's get started!
So before we present our analyzation on the TPCASTT, I'm going to read the poem first. I felt a funeral in my brain by Emily Dickinson. I felt a funeral in my brain, and mourners to and fro kept treading, till it seemed that sense was breaking through. And when they all were seated, a surface like a drum kept beating, till I thought my mind was going numb. And then I heard them lift the box and creak across my soul with those same boots of lead again. Then space began to toll, as all the heavens were a bell, and being but an ear, and I, and silence, some strange race, wrecked, solitary, here. And then a plank in reason broke, and I dropped down, and hit a world at every plunge, and finished knowing then.
Okay guys, now we started to present our analyzation about the TPCASTT. The first one is title. So we analyze in poem I Felt a Funeral in My Brain by Emily Dickinson. We have three titles. The first one is Mental Breakdown, the second one is The Fragility of Sanity, and the last one is The Isolation Experience of Grief.
I felt a funeral in my brain, and mourners to and fro. It kept treading till it seemed that sense was breaking through. And when they all were seated, a service, like a drum, kept beating till I thought my mind was going numb. And then I heard them lift a box and creak across my soul with those same boots of lead again. Then space began to talk. I felt a funeral inside of my brain, with grievers moving back and forth, continuously until it felt like my understanding about to shatter. And when everyone was settled, a service just like a drum kept pounding and pounding until I felt my mind was going blank. Then I heard them lift a box and drag it across my soul with those heavy boots once more, as the void began to resonate.
And for the next paraphrase, as all the heavens were a bell, felt like as if the heavens were a bell, and being but an ear, and I was just an ear, and I, and silence, some strange race, while I and silence become a strange kind of being, wrecked, solitary here, broken and alone in this place. And then a plank in the reason broke, then a piece of my reasoning snapped, and I dropped down, and I fell deeper and deeper, and hit a world at every plunge, hitting different worlds with each drop, and finished knowing then, until I finally stopped knowing.
So the next analyzation from TPCASTT is connotation. The first connotation is metaphors. The funeral is a metaphor. The first line, I felt a funeral in my brain, which showed that a funeral can't be real, and so it's a metaphor for the death of the mind. The next is the word mourners in the line represents Dickinson's pain. And next, the word plank in reason describes the speaker's descent into irrationality. And next, the word a service like a drum underline the speaker's loss of control over her thoughts. The next connotation is sound imagery. The word trading and the word beating evoke a sense of overwhelming pressure. The onomatopoeic quality of these words emphasizes the physicality of her mental breakdown. The word as all the heavens were a bell, it emphasizes the speaker's isolation at her passive reception to external chaos, portraying her as a merely an observer in her own suffering. The next is visual imagery. The word but an ear, a surreal image, but one that emphasizes the them versus me theme. And the last is rhyme sim. The word I felt a funeral in my brain employs a ballad stanza with 5 quatrains following an ABCB.
Alright, the next analyzation is A. A for stand for attitude. It initially appeared to me that the author was pitying herself and then began losing her mind more and more as the poem continued. The character appeared a bit confused and helpless throughout the transition well as the reader. I was become more and more afraid about what was going to unveil.
And for the next analyzation is shift. There are 2 shifts that we found in this. The first one is shift of speakers. A shift occurs during the line that states, "And then I heard them lift the box." As before this line, things continued to intensify and this line provided a shift towards her ultimate downfall. And the second shift is shift in tone that describes a descent into madness or a loss of rational thought indicated by the breaking of a plank in reason.
The next analyzation is title again. First, whereas a reader read the title, we get drawn into the speaker's world of mental anguish, which is the fragility of sanity, the isolation experience of grief. Now, I believe that the title refers to the death of her sanity. The turmoil in her mind continues to intensify beyond her control until she reaches a point where she has finished knowing, and the mourners have completely overwhelmed her thoughts.
Alright, for the last analyzation is T and stand for theme. The poem can be read as one long sentence about mental breakdown. The lyrical tooling in the poem reminds us of the vicious internal setting of the speaker's anxiety. So the speaker tries to understand what is happening in their brain. It ultimately surrenders to the physical and corporeal sensation. Thank you.
Okay guys, that's all for our analyzation.